Hey, Jay-Z. Hey, Bill. Oh, hey, Maggie, Susan. Good to see y'all. Hey, Ed. iPhone 92. Ron, am I going to go over last week's trades? Yeah, I'm going to cover some of them. What is SE doing today? Oh, what a beauty. I'm going to cover those today. Thank you, Richard. Says thank you for all that you do. Loving the weekly program. Hope you all are enjoying these sessions we've been doing. Oh, iPhone 92 is Susan. Hey, Susan. Oh, we got an iPad 6 now. Look at that. We'll cover some of the trades. I'll give you some new trades as well, per the usual. We'll go ahead and get rocking and rolling here, though. So, we've got the opening playbook today. Same sort of format as normal. However, keep in mind some big things happening this week. Earnings, a lot of earnings. We've got Apple earnings today, which I'll talk about a little bit. Apple kind of right now is kind of flat, as to be expected. People are probably waiting, sitting on their hands, waiting for earnings. How do you get the wrap trade alerts? Jay-Z, maybe Deanna, can you give him the perfect income monthly link by chance? That'll be the best way to get started, Jay-Z. Alrighty, let's dive in. Telegram post of the week. I just like to highlight a Telegram post here and get everyone in the room in Telegram. If you're not in Telegram, you're missing out. Missing out big time. Here comes the link for Telegram. It's there in the chat for you guys. This week on Monday, I gave you a freebie Apex indicator pick. It was Apple, one of my favorite stocks, a stock who's been taking a beating. We've been out on the sidelines for a while now, but it just got an Apex entry. Um, Based on how it's looking right now, and depending on what their earnings do, we may have a perfect Apple entry. But I don't want to, speak too soon on that. With that said, I'm getting very, very bullish on Apple again. Multiple reasons. One, the whole DeepSeek AI thing that happened over the weekend kind of was a shock to NVIDIA. I know my position on NVIDIA took a big hit. Very unfortunate. Um, However, the whole theory of can AI be done for a fraction of the cost and still be as efficient, that's very bullish for a company like Apple, who's not overly invested still in AI. There has been no big news from Apple. Like Microsoft had big news. They took a big stake in OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. So that's bad news for Microsoft. However, for Apple, it's actually good news. It means they might get on the AI train for cheaper than expected. So I like Apple a lot right now. It's an apex entry. Profit target price on Apple 247. So it's 238 now. It's about $10 to run, 5% roughly speaking. Apple is my Telegram post of the week. Let's do a little morning market update here. Here are the here's the economic reports from the week. We had the federal interest rate decision yesterday, which it's funny. Those used to be such a big deal. 2022, they were moving the markets like crazy, depending on what they said. Now we're getting hardly any move on them. They kept it steady. Everyone expected that. They said they plan to keep it steady to keep inflation's their number one concern. They just don't want inflation to go out of control. Makes sense. Everyone expected it. Nothing crazy there. Something flew under the radar a bit this morning, though, which I highlighted here. The GDP quarter over quarter, so Q4 GDP came in much lower than anticipated, about 20% lower than anticipated. So here you see the GDP report. Previous one was 3.1%. Their expectations was 2.7%. However, came in at 2.3%. So that's 1/4 of shrinking GDP. Hey, Stacy, that's not a great sign overall for the economy. It's not the end of the world, but two negative GDPs is a technical recession, which no one would even think about right now, given that the markets are nearing all-time highs. Something to keep in mind. Jobless claims came in better than expected. Tomorrow we have PCE, which is kind of an inflation measure for us to see where we're at. That'll probably be some slight market moving news tomorrow morning. So far, the markets are up. Wow, that is a blurry screenshot. Let me get a new one for us. Let me get a fresh one where we're at right now. You can see I put my screenshot markets there. All right, much clearer, much better. Bitcoin leading the way. Gold looking really good. Gold futures all-time highs this morning. I've got a lot of gold. I've told you a few weeks now that I really like gold for this year. Actually, if you were at the last week's opening playbook session, I showed you a chart that said Gold returns typically come in pairs of two. And what I mean by that is they cluster. So a big return last year typically means a big return this year. So we'll see about that, but so far so good. Markets are up. QQQ fading a bit. When I took the screenshot earlier, it was 0.5%. So we're getting a little bit of a fade there on the Qs. Next week for the economic news, not a ton of big news. On Thursday, we have jobless claims, which is probably one of the bigger news events, but not even that big comparatively speaking to like the CPIs or PPIs of the world. We also have unemployment rate on Friday. These are in the morning, 8:30. Something to keep an eye on. I don't think they're going to be crazy market movers unless we get a big beat or miss on the expectations. With that said, let me just recap here what the Fed said. Basically, as expected, they're keeping interest rates as is. If you looked at the votes, all of the Fed members voted for keeping interest rates flat. One voted for a hike, no votes for a cut. So, if anything, it's a little bit more hawkish than dovish, meaning leaning a little bit more towards, hey, we will take interest rates up if need be. With that said, the markets really didn't move that much on the news. Let's cover some of the charts of the week. It's funny, I keep posting Bitcoin every week. It happens to be something that always pops up for me. I obviously have a big stake in it. Here's something interesting. Uh, the banks, actually, the Fed approved some more deregulation for Bitcoin for banks to start holding it, which is bullish for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's obviously up today. I showed you that here. 106 on the futures. It's at 106.1 now on the futures. But BNY Bank is now hiring a crypto role. So I think we're going to see this domino effect across the banks, where we're going to see them opening up crypto roles for banks to start investing in Bitcoin. Very interesting. It's not really a chart, more of a post of the week there. Here's another one. Here's a little bit of a bearish post, which I try and keep it even here so you guys get all the data and make your own decisions. Here is a history of bull markets coming out of recessions versus those not preceded by recessions, circled in blue. So if we didn't have a recession, here's what those bull markets look like. Circled in blue, kind of looks like we might be near the end of the run, which I'm not necessarily saying that. However, there's some mixed bag data right now. I think we're going to get a nice run. I'll show you in a bit, but through summer. And then after that, I will obviously reassess. I can't predict something 2 years out. But I think that there's some interesting data coming up here late summer. So there's a fun little chart for the week for you bears in the room. Seasonally speaking, where we at? We are now going into February. Not technically there yet, but pretty much. Historically, a pretty flat month for the markets, not super bullish. I'll cover the presidential seasonality here in a minute, like I always do. This, looking at the January barometer versus the Q1 barometer, it's just mixed. They net offset each other. I'm not going to spend too much time here. If you've been at the previous sessions, you know what this looks like. But we're going to finish with a positive January barometer by the looks of it, unless something absolutely crazy happens, which I don't even think is possible at this point. We'd have to trip some circuit breakers. But we got a bearish look here at the Q1 lows below the December low. Not good, but we also have a bullish sign here. So they kind of offset each other now. For a quick market overview of where we are and where I think we're headed, let's look at last week's analysis. I said I think we're going to top out around here and then maybe start to head lower. I said the put to call ratio was very bullish, probably too bullish. Last time that happened was back in August and September. What happened back in August and September? Pullback. And here we are now based on that. So let's see what happened. We got some chop as predicted. We haven't seen a move lower yet, per se. We did see that big drop over the weekend on the DeepSeek AI stuff, but then pretty much filled that gap. It's probably filled today. Let's see. Let me take a look. I haven't filled it yet. We probably touched it and filled it. But actually, that's interesting. Looks like, wow. Starting to give up some gains this morning. Yep. So that was last week's analysis. Pretty spot on there. But overall sentiment for this week, the week ahead, still right in the middle on the fear and greed index. Not much to talk about here. We're in the neutral zone. Stocks above the 50-day moving average. Not much to talk about. No change from last week, really. We're still about half of the stocks above their 50-day moving average. Typically, we want to see this near the 70s, especially with markets where they're at. This basically gives us a good idea of how most stocks are performing. If the S&P's at all-time highs, you would think most stocks are near all-time highs. Not the case. Only about half of stocks are above their 50-day moving average. Stocks above their 200-day moving average, similar case, not very good. 56% of stocks above their 200-day moving average. That means a little less than half of stocks out there are in a bearish trend. Not great. For the put to call ratio, this is what I told you last week. Too bullish. We got to spike back up to kind of a neutral-ish zone, but now we're back to the bulls in control here. So what's going to come next? Well, no one knows without a doubt, but let me give you my analysis and you make your decision on it. S&P 500 seasonal patterns in a presidential cycle. If you guys haven't screenshot this yet, let me move my mouse so you can. What that green line is you're looking at all post-election years. So the green line is the average of every first year of a new presidential cycle. You see a little bit of this is more in tune with what we've seen this year. Choppiness in January, finished by a strong end of the month, near all-time highs, kind of where we're at right now. Pullback in February. Let's look at this one. This red line is post-election cycle after a new party comes in. So it was Democrats before, now it's Republicans. Let's look at it. More of a downtrend in January. Again, we saw more of this in January, but also a pullback in February. So both point to a pullback in February, seasonally speaking. Let's look at the internals of the market. If we're looking at the RSI, this is very interesting to me. This measures kind of the strength of the market. You want to see if the markets are going higher, you want to see momentum increasing, strength increasing. Right now, we're getting the opposite. We've got markets hit all-time highs, but the RSI didn't even get above 70. Above 70 is typically our overcooked zone or the high momentum zones. So we're seeing momentum decrease on the RSI while the markets went to all-time highs. That's a divergence on the trend. Typically, that means a pullback may be coming. So here's my analysis for this week. Actually, it's more like this month. You see this is marked out to March. I think we're going to get some more choppiness, potentially some downside. Again, that's what this says. That's what this says. So I'm just following the data, trying to give you guys a good outlook here. Sorry, looking in the chat real quick. Annette says, one of my advisors stating that before or on April 11th, the market will drop 20% in 2 hours. Wow. That's quite a prediction. I don't necessarily think the market will lose 20% in a couple hours. The circuit breakers are in place where it can't do that in theory. Recording will be on YouTube, Stacy. So here's my outlook for the month. Some choppiness followed by a drop. Now, we know we're in a catalyst news-driven market. So what can change this outlook? Well, that's earnings, which we're in the heart of earnings season right now. Got a nice little beat on Meta yesterday. Tesla, interestingly enough, was all over the place. Let me just show you guys real quick what I'm talking about. So Meta, which we traded long in the Moonshots program, popped nicely in earnings. Faded some of the gains, but ended up strong this morning. Looking good for our trade. Tesla, on the other hand, look at this, dropped on earnings, then rallied on the earnings call, and has given up all the gains since then. Not even up a full percent right now. Stacy says now drop so much. Yeah, we had someone in the chat. I can't remember your name. Someone in the chat said that now typically misses or is going to miss their earnings. And interestingly enough, they were spot on with that. Luckily, we don't have a trade on now, right now. And that's tough to say now so many times. Let's look at Microsoft, though. Microsoft miss. Actually, I think they might have beat their guidance, but the stock dropped hard. And look at it now, down 6% today. Now, you might look at this and say, ooh, that's bearish. Could be. I think this is bullish for Apple, which again, Apple has earnings this afternoon. Pretty flat right now, but the more gains Microsoft gives up, the more Apple can eat its lunch. Meaning the more business Apple can take over. Or in this case, investment dollars. Let's look at GE. Someone asked about GE. Yeah, GE's up nicely. They popped on earnings, holding up nicely. All right. So what can change my market outlook? That is earnings right now. And today we have Apple. Visa, MasterCard was this morning. But the big one is Apple. The big fish, the biggest fish in the market, Apple. earnings today. Again, like I said earlier, I am bullish on Apple. I'm getting really excited about Apple. I think sky is the limit for Apple right now. I'll be talking about that this afternoon at 1 p.m. But we have Apple today. Next week, Tuesday, we have Google, another big fish. And then Thursday next week, we have Amazon and Lilly. A stock I love is Lilly. Waiting for them to enter a bullish trend again before getting in a position long there. But Amazon it's a big Mag 7 stock. So when I say this is my outlook, well, if we get some crazy beats here, some crazy positive news, that will change this outlook. All right. I've also highlighted down here FTNT, that's Fortinet. Let me post the ticker here in the chat. The reason I've highlighted this, let me pull up Fortinet. So are you guys familiar with my on the clock stocks program or the hot sheets or the seasonality programs? Yes, yes. Awesome. So here's a little tip for you guys. Fortinet is one of the on the clock stocks for February. That means it's gone up every year in February for the last 10 years, actually 11 now. Now, something very interesting here is that it always has earnings during that period. So that means it's always outperformed on earnings over the last 11 years now. We traded this live last year in one of the roundtables, had a big hit. So this is one, it's speculative, it's earnings, but for whatever reason, Fortinet has beat earnings every February for the last 11 years. So that's why I gave you guys Fortinet in the chat. Be a good one to write down. If I were to trade it, I would probably just wait until Thursday, which we can do next week here in this session. Hope to see you again. And we can place a trade on Fortinet going into earnings. Actually, one of my biggest trades ever was on Fortinet earnings. I ended up doing like $17,000 overnight on it. It was pretty awesome. So that's a little fun nugget for you guys. It's an earnings seasonal play. Very interesting. All right, let's take a look at the sectors where we're at. We're now going into February. We're seeing a rotation in the sector. So let me just highlight this to show you guys. Look at the rotation here. We're rotating into staples, into industrials, into materials, out of healthcare, out of real estate. This one's a big one. I'll talk about it in a second. But look at this. Look how different the heat map looks here, going month over month. Now, this doesn't mean that this will happen to a T, but it's a good gauge of what typically happens year over year. Also, I've highlighted this a few times. Bookmark your calendar for March, April, and May, because I think those are going to be some red hot months. They're also red hot seasonally speaking with the presidential cycles. Look at this. Every sector is green for those 3 months. Pretty nuts. The only other time we see that is in Q4. So a really cool opportunity. Now let's look at the sector view here. Heater, I'm getting cooked over here. Last week, I said I like XLY, I like XLF, don't love XLP. These are the sectors inside the S&P 500, discretionary, financials, staples. I matched it up with seasonality. I matched it up with the relative strength. Actually, let me just talk you guys through this. What this is just a stock fetcher code, a simple stock fetcher code that ranks the strongest to weakest sectors. So it does the average percent over 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month, and then we rank it this way. Actually, this is something that Roger Scott taught me back in the day. Still use it been using it for years. It's a great little kind of nugget to know. Hey, one stock looks great. Well, let's check the sector, make sure the sector looks good too. It's a great confirmation. Now, interestingly enough, let's see what happened week over week. So this was last week's picks. Some notable shifts. Last week on the session, I think we had 2 sectors change. This week, we had a lot of movement within the sectors. We're seeing that rotation I talked about with the seasonality grid. So let's look at the seasonality grid. Remember, I said we're getting a lot of rotation here, and we're starting to see it play out already. So technology has actually dropped almost to the bottom. Energy is heating up. Let's look at energy here. Energy heating up as expected. Let's see. Here we have real estate dropping. Real estate cooling off as expected. So it's just really interesting matching all of this up. With that said, there's my chart. Sorry. Let's look at my top and bottom picks this week. So a little bit different. I still like Discretionary. We got a question here, Kenneth. What do the red green arrows mean? Good question. I should explain that. This means XLE jumped 2 spots week over week. XLU dropped 1 spot. XLV climbed 3 spots. XLP climbed 3 spots. So if we look at this comparison to this week, that's the movement. So XLK technology dropped 4 ranks. So technology was up here. Now it's down here. Does that make sense? So for this week, top and bottom picks, still love discretionary. I'm going to trade a discretionary stock today, one that we've made money on here in this class. I like energy, and this is new, but with the shift into energy, look at energy heating up for the next few months, seasonally speaking. Look at energy climbing in the ranks here, right? So I like energy right now. It's a new one for us. I'm going to stay away from real estate. Again, real estate dropped over the week. It also seasonally drops. So do you see my line of thinking here on why I might short some real estate or just at least stay away? Can we get the stock fetcher code, Marge? Do you guys all want the stock fetcher code? All right. Let me put it, I'm just going to real quick put it in a Google Doc, and I'll drop it in here. Let's see how fast I can do this. I'll also post it in Telegram. Again, if you're not in Telegram, there's a reason you should join. Sector, strength, stock fetcher code. Let me go ahead and pull this for you guys. It'll give me about, or take me about 30 more seconds. If you guys aren't familiar with stock fetcher, it's a great little tool to use. Anyone with the link can view. All right, here it comes. Google Doc, just save that Google Doc. You can copy and paste that code into stock fetcher, and you can get the same thing. Now look, let me pull up stock fetcher for you guys just to show you how I do it. And again, this is something that Roger taught me. So here's the code pulled up. What I like to do, I got it here. I'm going to hit table so I get this view that you guys have been seeing. And then really important here, don't just look at it right away. Go here and sort it by average percentage. By clicking here, it'll sort it top to bottom. That way you can see the rankings of strongest to weakest. Now, Bitcoin's technically not a sector. I just like to keep it in focus here. Zoom user, what's the best way to play crypto if you want to own it? Well, you can buy Bitcoin on a hard cold storage wallet. I personally invest in the ETFs. IBIT is a good one. FBTC is the other one that I like to own. The code would go into stock fetcher. So I don't have a free account. I have a paid account. I think you can use it on a free account. If not, I think it's $7 a month. Drop the code over in here. So you'd create a new filter, put the code in here, name it, save it, and you're good to go. All right. Let's get into the nitty gritty here of some stocks we like. Top Apex signal of the week. Again, I posted in Meta. This is the 3rd week in a row I've said Meta. We just got a new blue arrow. Let's see how Meta's holding up post earnings. Meta looking good post earnings. Now, I'll give you the targets and everything, see if we've hit him. No, profit target price is 720. So we still got some room to go on Meta. Stop price 538. Obviously, we're up pretty far from then off earnings. With that said, typically, if you guys look at the data, stocks who beat earnings and then break above the highs from the earnings. So if we see Meta break above 710, that's very bullish. You'll probably see it drift right to 720 immediately. I can't say that without a doubt. There's risk. It could go totally backwards. I could be totally wrong. But typically, historically, stocks who beat earnings and then break new highs drift even higher. So that's why I like Meta again. This week, as a bonus, you guys remember this. I posted this in Telegram. Posted it. I talked about it at the beginning of today's class. Apple, red hot. Looks really good right now. Still flat on the day. They have earnings today, so might not trade it today, but this is definitely one to have in the back pocket here. Price target 247. All right, let's jump into the hot sheet picks of the week. Again, I talked about Fortinet earlier, seasonality. I look at stocks that go up year over year on the same dates. Um, I gave you guys CRM 2 weeks ago. Let's see where that's at right now. I've got too many things open here. So CRM up 48% right now on last week's or 2 weeks ago. Gave you guys some options here. So down a little bit today. The last week's one was SE, which right now is up 48%. So moving higher. There you see my screenshot of my brokerage. This was from yesterday. Create this deck a day in advance. For this week, got a new one for you. Ticker is CALM, CALM. Posted in the chat. This is a 26-day hold time, so this would be through February. Averages a 3% gain on the underlying stock. All right. Why do I like CALM a lot outside of just being seasonally strong? Well, it's also in a strong trend. Doesn't have earnings coming up. Also, it's in consumer staples, which is gaining strength. And if you look at the seasonality, it's gaining strength. Here, consumer staples, look at this. Look at the monthly rotation from January to February. Consumer staples goes from being a dud to being a pretty solid sector here. So we're seeing that play out right now. The rotation in the sector is playing out. CALM is a seasonal pick for us. Would you guys like me to give you a trade on it here with options? Post in the chat. Michael says the free version of Stock Fetcher will only show 5 sectors. Good to know. So you might need a paid version of Stock Fetcher. I think it's $7 a month. All right. Let's do a CALM trade. It's funny. This is going to be a new one. It's like now, the ticker NOW that we've been trading. I keep saying, we're going to trade now. And I'll say, let's be calm with our CALM trade. All right, let's see what the options look like. So it's a hold through February. So I'm going to pick the closest expiration date. We should have good enough volume to enter. Spreads are tight enough here. Let's see what the pricing looks like. We got a 3% move. So I probably wouldn't want to do much higher than the 115 strike. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the wrap orders, covered that on Tuesday in the training. The recording should be in the members portal for everyone who is a member. Actually, if you're not a member, let me just do this real quick. This is the best way to get access to the wrap order, in my opinion. It's the hot sheet. You'll get the hot sheets sent to you where you can get all these sort of picks year over year. And it also gives you in the membership portal so you can access all the calculators and recordings, all that good jazz. So if you don't have the hot sheets, if you don't have any memberships, that's a great place to start. Free. You just pay for shipping to get them shipped to you. Let's go ahead and take a look at CALM here. If I'm trading CALM, again, my thing's going crazy. The wrap orders are just a basic debit spread. But I wrap the price of the stock with 2 strikes. So the price is at 113 in the middle of 110 and 115, slightly above. That's why we're going to pay slightly higher. But let me go ahead and type this up for you guys. I would do the 21 Feb 25 expiration, buy 110 call, sell 115 call. Right now that's at a net debit of 280. Now let me pull up my handy dandy calculator. Max profit's $5. We're entering for 280. It gives us 78% ROI potential here if CALM gains about $1.40 from where it's currently at. It's up $1.27 today. Let's see. You put. Oh, good catch. There we go. Thank you, SM, for noticing that. Buy the 110 call, sell the 115. Post this in the chat. Right now it's priced at 280. Important note here. If you're new to trading, don't use a market order. So you can use a market order. It's going to fill you at whatever price. It's going to give you not a great fill. Use a limit order here. So let me go ahead and send that off. See if we get filled. We'll let it sit. I'll let you know if it gets filled. Again, I just let it sit for a while. Sometimes it takes an hour to fill. But again, I would not use a market order because you're going to get a bad fill. All right, let's keep on moving along. Gonna move these things out of my way. John is asking, why did I use the 21st of February expiration? Great question, John. So if you look at the hot sheets or on the clock stocks calendar, you'll see that I give you a hold time That's because we're looking seasonally. Stocks that go up every year on the same dates. And then what is the period of time that they're going up for? So this one for Column is a 26-day hold time. It's gone up every year from January 31st through February 25th. So the February 21st is the closest strike for that. That's why I went with that. Why not? You could do into March if you want to. I'm just going to try and stick as close to the seasonal expiration date as possible. I did a limit at 280. I still have not gotten filled. Calm is moving higher. So if you wanted to, you could go one strike out of the money. It's at 285 now, you said? Yeah, 290 now. But it's because the stock is moving higher as we speak. If you wanted to be a little bit more risky, you go one strike out of the money, buy the 115, sell the 120s, currently at 185. That gives you a profit potential of 170%. So much greater profit potential, but you do need a slightly bigger move. Jennifer says, should we start going into March because of presidential year seasonality drop in Feb? That's a good note, Jennifer. Um, she's asking because of this, should we buy more time? If I were trading, the S&P 500, I would say yes, or just maybe wait. The thing is, like, even with this drop, it doesn't mean all stocks are going down with it. Just like with the bull market we've seen, it doesn't mean all stocks have gone up with it. Remember this, half of stocks aren't even doing that great right now. So what I'm trying to say is that seasonally, even though the markets may be weaker, there's still going to be stocks going higher. I like my odds here. I like the sector that Calm is in. I like that we have it seasonally as a hot pick for us. So that's why I'm doing it. How much of a move do we need? So it keeps moving higher. I'm probably not going to get filled. Let me just, let's go ahead and readjust this. I'm going to cancel this. I'll do one strike out of the money, see if I get filled. How do you know if your trades are to open or close? I don't know how. I guess I've never thought about it, but if it's closing, I would just come here. If you want to know how to close, right click this, create closing order, sell. That's how I do it in Thinkorswim. Calm is killing me right now. Moving higher. Let me go ahead and try to do the 115, 120 here. That would need Calm to move about $6 from here. So like 5%, a little bit bigger than our expected move. However, if it finishes in the middle, it'll still gain value here as long as Calm is above about 117. I actually don't know if I love that. Did anyone get filled at these strikes? 110, 115? Richard, no, no. Nobody. Not even me. All right. I'm just going to test this out to see if it'll fill at 290. The options volume, it's not extremely high, but it should be enough to enter. It's not even filling at 290. Rob, you got it at 275? What platform do you use, Rob? Or brokerage? Thinkorswim, wow. 290 at Thinkorswim. I just placed mine at 290. I'll let it sit. But we'll see. We'll come back to it if need be. But this is a good one. It's a good stock position as well. Doug got filled at 280. So Calm is our pick of the week. So far, we've done pretty well on these picks. Our CRM one's up nicely, even with the stock down today. The one I did on Tuesday is down, but hey, can't win them all. SE is up nicely. So hopefully we get another nice win from Calm. If you guys like these picks, again, I'll post this link in the chat. You can access a bunch of them with the hot sheets. They're free plus shipping, and you get the downside picks as well. Now, that said, let's move on to some momentum picks for the week. What's interesting here, and I've said this a few times, I always find stocks that I've never traded before with Newton. It's awesome. The scanner tips me off to him. So STT entered a new bullish momentum, above average momentum yesterday. It's up higher again today. We should have had this class yesterday. We'd all be up big right now. Um, oh wow, Nvidia. Oof. So STT is a good Newton momentum pick. Another good one is Costco, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. We're going to place a trade on Costco. Up nicely as today as well. Again, we should have done this yesterday. Karen, I'm not going to go out of the money on Calm. I don't like that it's $5 strikes. Stock needs to move a lot more. So I'm just going to let it sit on Calm. Maybe budge my limit price a little bit higher here in a bit. But the problem with Calm right now is that the stock has moved 75 cents since I started talking about it. So whenever I started talking about it, it was down in here. And now it's all the way up here. So it's moving the price of the options too. And the volume isn't super crazy high right now. So that's why it's taking a while. Gaston, can I go over CRM and Amazon from Tuesday? Let me get through this and I'll go ahead and cover our current picks. Oh, Amazon's down and CRM's down from Tuesday. Calm is panicking. Yeah. All right. The other one is Costco. Again, we're going to trade that here in a second. But to the downside, a real estate stock that does not look good, also has negative momentum, ARE. Look at this. Last time I had negative momentum, big drop. Negative momentum, big drop. We got negative momentum again on ARE if you guys want something to the downside. So I'll type these in the chat here. STT, Costco, ARE, bearish. So those first two are bullish picks. This one's a bearish one. Let's get into some opening playbook trades. So far from our trades. Oh, wow. I'm up. Let me just jump over here. Yeah, Calm still is not filled for me. Look at that. Who says I don't get paid to be with you guys? I'm up $2,500 from our opening playbook trade so far. Can't complain about that. Hopefully you guys have made some money. Yes, Gaston, CRM, and Amazon from Tuesday have gone against me. But overall, doing good. So this week, as always, I'm going to give you a monthly pick, a weekly pick, and an overnight pick. For the monthly pick, I'm going to do Costco. I didn't give you guys this one as an Apex one, but it is an Apex entry. Okay. It also is a Newton bullish pick. It also is a staple stock. So we have three things going for us right now. We don't have earnings for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and trade Costco here. So it's at 9.79 right now. Expensive stock. If you want to trade the options, let me see what the volume's like on these. Let me tighten this up. All right, I'll just go with the monthly expiration. If you want to trade the option straight up, $2,000, I'm going to trade it for cheaper. So I'm going to wrap it. I'm actually going to go one strike out of the money just because it's at 980 basically right now. I'm going to buy the 980, 21st of February expiration, sell the 985. That's not a great price. Let's see. Well, let me just type this up for you guys. And we'll see what we can get filled at. So Costco. We're going to buy the 980, sell the 985. Right now it's at 250, which means we will make 100% ROI if Costco gains $5 from here. It's a $980 stock. A $5 move is less than 1%. It's about a 0.5% move from here over the next month. Filled right away at 250. Let me see if I can get in cheaper than what it's showing. Set one at 245 as well. Oh, there we go. Now it's filled at 245 instantly. Dale, where do you get the Apex indicator? It's one of my indicator services. Dion, I don't know if you have a membership form ready for that you can send to Dale. But it's for purchase, unlike the hot sheets, which are free with shipping. So filled at 245, not filled at 240, but I'll let it sit. I want to get about 4 of these actually. Put $1,000 in. Let's see if I get 245 again. 245 still filling instantly. So I got one more sitting at 240. If it fills, I have about $1,000 in on this position. Again, Costco, we need it to close above 985 by February 1st. So if I'm going to do the crosshairs, February 21st, we go up. We need it to get above here. So look at all that time and that small move we needed. It was above 58 or 985 today. So we don't even need a big move. We'll make a little bit over 100% ROI, depending on where you got filled at. But if Costco barely gains over the next month, why do I like Costco? Well, it's one of our Newton picks. It's also one of our Apex picks. David A got in at 243. Nice. Earnings date, good question, Doug. Should have mentioned that. Earnings date on Costco is March 6th. March 6th. So we've got a ton of time. We're not going to have to worry about earnings because our expiration is on the 21st. So we'll be out before earnings. I did post a trade in the chat, but I'll post it here again. Here's the trade. Again, we need Costco above 985. What am I missing? Are buy contracts always to open and sell contracts always to close? Not necessarily. James, what platform are you using? Brent is asking, I usually do a target at double or just waiting to see, or just wait to see what you can get? I don't normally set targets, Brent, like the fill targets for exiting. I normally let it go till expiration. You can set targets. However, like you're not going to get filled for $5 selling it because there's no upside for the buyer at that point. So you'd have to get filled for like 490, maybe 495. All right, let me type this up in here for our team so you guys can have this after the class. Bam. Just call it around 245. Net debit. Max profit of $104. Costco above 985 by expiration. All right, everyone got that one? If it's in the red, if it's going against us, I let it expire. Yeah. So I like a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, typically speaking, meaning I risk $1 to make $1, or I could lose that dollar. However, the way you win with that is have a win rate greater than 50%. My win rates are right around 70% on average. So we're winning 7, losing 3, netting out about 4 positive per 10. I know I just threw a lot of random numbers at you guys, but over time it really stacks up. All right, everyone got that one? For the weekly momentum play, I like Lululemon. We've traded this one a few times already. I think I have one open right now on Lulu. Yeah, we got one open right now on Lulu at a max profit. Gotta love to see it. It's still bullish on Newton momentum. Were you guys at the Newton class last week? This was my pick from the Newton class. It's gone straight up since then, which is just awesome to see. But I'm going to go ahead and trade it again for a weekly breakout here. Oh, there we go. I got filled at Costco at 240. Still nothing for Calm yet. But I'm going to go ahead and do Lulu again. Next week expiration, where we're going to need a small move in Lulu to make around double our money. Would it be called a vertical put on my platform? No, it should not be vertical put. We're using calls, Eldon. Ron, am I selling a covered or uncovered call? It's a spread, so they offset each other. It's not naked. It's not uncovered. So if you do it right, Ron, you should be buying one and selling one. Let me type up Lulu here for you guys. I'll post it in the chat. Let me check the prices on it. So right now, Lulu's at 418. We're going to wrap it here. Buy the 417. Feb 7, yes. And sell the 420. Trading under 125, which is good for us. So Lulu. Oh, shoot. Lulu. I'm wearing a Lululemon shirt right now, as always. Buy 417.5. Sell 420 call. Let me just double check. All right. Perfect. Posting here in the chat. I'm going to try and get filled for 125. Again, stock moved higher since I typed that up. It's at 125 now. Let me set it. I'm going to try and get. The cool thing with Thinkorswim is it'll do the max profit and loss for you guys here, calculated. Also, I have the calculators in the membership portals as well. Filled instantly at 125. Let's see if it'll fill lower, just for fun. So I get about 1,200 bucks there in Lulu again. If it fills, filled right away at 125. You guys saw that. Good to go there. Now, I should talk you guys through. I just assume everyone's been to the previous classes. The way we make our money here, administrator, I typically do lots of $500, $1,000, or $5,000, depending on my confidence. So this one I did about 1,200 if I get that second fill, which that's like my normal level of trading. Sometimes, guys, I've been doing these sessions, which I love doing for you guys, but I end up doing so many trades where I'll just have to take like 1 or 2 contracts of some of these. Otherwise, it's just too much to handle at any given time. But I really like Lulu. I really like Costco. I did $1,000 roughly speaking in each of those. So here's how we make our money here with Lulu. All right. So we did the wrap order at 420. That means if Lulu, let me get the crosshairs. So it's February 7th. We just need Lulu above this X you see on my screen here for us to make double our money. We got filled at 125. Max profit's 250. So if Lulu barely even budges over the next week, we double our money. Call options, you lose money. With the wrap order, we double our money. Pretty cool stuff. All right. Let me post this in here for you guys in the team. %, if Lulu above 420 by expiration. I'm trying to keep us on pace here. Another reason I like Lulu, and I should have mentioned this earlier, I teased this earlier, discretionary is strong. Discretionary is strong seasonally in February. It also is the strongest sector right now. Lulu is one of the strongest stocks within the discretionary sector. Also, our Newton momentum is positive and it's breaking out. When you go to sell the wrap orders before expiration, do you bid higher or low? I just normally do the mid price. Richard, I normally let these expire. So I know that like Nate, who's an awesome trader, he will set targets for earlier. That works great for some people. I typically like to say, hey, I think Lulu can go slightly higher over the next week. Let me hold it till expiration. And then I don't even exit on expiration unless it's in between the 2 strikes, then I'll exit. But if it's above the highest strike, I'll let it exercise. Now, it sounds scary, but because you buy and sold a call simultaneously, they offset each other. You don't end up with any stock. If it's below our strikes by expiration, that means we're going to take a loser. And I just let them clear out and expire. If it's in the middle, so like if Lulu's at 418, let me just pull this back up so I can show you. If Lulu's at like 418, oh wow, Lulu's moving. If Lulu's at 418 on Friday next week, I'll probably just close it out in the morning for whatever the price, the mid price is. Annette missed all the picks. Are they on Telegram? I'll post this deck in Telegram for you guys. All right. So that's our weekly momentum play. Again, there's the options. For the overnighter, I like to pick these live. Because so much can change while live. I really like AVGO. I like ANET. Let me just turn off Newton. It's going to give us, so we're not really looking for a momentum breakout here. We're just looking for an overnight move. These guys just broke above their gap for a fill. AVGO is stronger. GV looks good. What do you guys say? Should we do, I've got 3 stocks I like right now. I just think that typically when it breaks above, let me talk you through gap fills real quick. So we had that big scare over the weekend, right? A lot of stocks tanked. AVGO took a big hit. Chip stock, scary for them if someone can produce chips for cheaper or produce AI for cheaper, not using their chips. Big drop down on the gap, right? Let me just do this so you can see the gap a little bit better. Big gap down. Now, I would not buy this stock unless it broke above the high price on the gap down day. So the high price here is about 218.50. When it breaks above 218.50, for me, that's an entry to try and buy it until the low price of the previous gap down day. So 241, roughly speaking. So today, it broke above that gap down high price. And now I would expect it to carry on higher. I think we might get a multiple day momentum move here. Same, oops, I did not mean to type that in the chat. Same goes for GEV. It broke above it 2 days ago, actually. And look at this. This is kind of to my point. You normally get some momentum carrying through there. Let's look at ANET. It broke above today. However, it looks a little soft right now. That said, it's still up 5.5%. If Lulu is over 140, I think Lulu stock, again, keep sending you guys these trades in the stock move. So it was at 418 when we entered it. We entered at like the lows of the, and now it's popped up. So I would just let it sit on Lulu. You can do it at 140. I would just let it sit. It happened to us the other day where it took all the way till the afternoon to fill. But again, I don't want to get, I would rather miss a trade than get filled for a poor price. Howard says go with AVGO. Let's do AVGO. So the reason that I asked to have these classes on Thursday is so we can do these trades with the expiration being tomorrow for the overnighter move. So AVGO. Let's look at the options right now. It's at 219. Let's see what this will pay. It's not great. Don't really want to. Let me check. GEV. That's not great either. Sorry, I'm flying through these. ANET actually looks really good. I'll give you guys a couple, if that's okay with you guys. Everyone cool with a couple? Let me make another slide here. All right. ANET. Oh, got to take the screenshot for my team. So I'm going to do one on ANET just because the price looks really good. I'll walk you through what I'm seeing. And I'll do AVGO as well. Again, I got to take a screenshot for my team. So they have this to send it out to you guys in the newsletters. All right, let's do ANET first. So I'm going to go ANET. Again, we're looking for a move higher tomorrow. NVIDIA is taking, oh man. NVIDIA is taking a dump. We had a note here in the chat from Michael. All right, ANET. We've traded this one before on the overnighter, I think. We definitely have. So, price is 113.76. Let's see what the price is here. It's at 53 cents. So, ANET's $113 stock. In this instance, if we were to do this one, I'm not saying we are yet, we would need ANET to get above 114 tomorrow for us to make slightly less than double our money, given the current price. So, we would need ANET. All we need tomorrow is for ANET to close above 114. Look where it is right now. I mean, it could be above 114 in a matter of minutes from here. Granted, we need that to happen overnight going into tomorrow. So that's why these trades are super cool, in my opinion. We don't need a huge move. That is a wild price there. So let me type this up for you guys. I would expect to get filled around 50 cents. Not what it's showing there. But let me go ahead and type it up. So for the overnighter, we've got ANET. 31 January 25 expiration. I'm going to be buying the 113, selling the 114. Currently it's at 50 cents. So that means if ANET closes above 114 tomorrow, which is a 0.5% move from here, a 0.5% move, we double our money. Now, to answer the question about position sizing, Someone asked about that earlier. This is one where I'd probably do 500 bucks, 250, 500 bucks, somewhere in that. Me personally, I'm not saying you guys should do any price. You guys make up your own mind. But the ones that are the weekly plays and the monthly plays, I'd like to put a little bit more in. These ones can more be hit or miss. They're more binary, where it's like you'll wake up in the morning and pretty much know is it a winner or a loser versus a trend, a longer time frame trade. So I'm going to put 250 in on this guy at 50 cents. Let's see if we get filled. If not, we'll come back to it. It should fill here at 50 cents. But while we wait, let me go over to AVGO. Popping nicely today. Overnight. 219 stock. Let's see what price they give me here. This isn't bad at all, actually. So in this instance, let me type this up for you guys. On AVGO, we would need it to close above 220 by tomorrow for us to make our profit. It's at 219.29. That's a 0.3% move overnight. If it gains 0.3% move or 0.3% overnight, we're going to hit our max profit here. Still no fill on ANET. So AVGO, we're going to buy the 217, sell the 220. Right now it's trading at 133. So let's say we did it at 133. Our max profit would be 87% overnight. The spread is moving all over. Let me just try and get filled here. Filled right away at 130. So that means you can probably get a better price. I'll let that 125 one sit. But it's at 128 now. ANET filled at 130. Nice. AVGO filled at 130. Oh, 125 filled for AVGO. My ANET is still not filled. Oops. Did you guys all get filled on ANET? I think Calm is still sitting there too. Calm is still sitting there. I wonder if the stock moved higher. Oh, there's ANET just filled. All right, let's go look at Calm. Oh, the stock's rocketing. That's why. Well, that's a bummer. You guys want another seasonality pick then? Since Calm did not fill for us. ANET, let me post ANET in the chat here again for you guys. Yeah, Prasad says need level 3 options for vertical. Robinhood sucks. I hate Robinhood. Actually, that stock is pretty good, but the app itself, actually, it's a great app. The user friendliness of it is next level. Problem is, a lot of times you get bad fills. I've got a buddy who just started trading. I don't know, he found me on YouTube. He's one of my friends. He Googled me on YouTube and said, "Oh, dude, you need to give me some trades." So he started trading. He's on Robinhood, and he's already ditched it for Thinkorswim just because his fills were so bad. Jana, I'll do FTNT next week. So we'll have this class again next Thursday at 10 a.m. That'll be the day of earnings, unless they have earnings in the morning. No, after market close. So we'll do Fortinet next week. Fidelity is awesome, David. Yeah, it is really good. Tasty Trade is really good too, Richard. All right. Seasonality pick. Let me pull up my handy dandy calendar. I did post AVGO, yes. All right, let me pull this up. Sorry. On the clock stocks. Monthly calendar. TTD was an entry yesterday, seasonally speaking. 12%. Oh, but we got earnings. So that would be one that you could play speculatively for earnings. Deanna, do we have February's calendar posted yet? I don't think so.
No, not yet.
Okay. If I do puts, when I do puts on Fang, that means I expect it to go down. Yes. Let me go ahead and see if I can take a sneak peek ahead. Let's see. IBKR. This looks like a good one. Interactive brokers. This one's a February 4th entry. We'll go ahead and enter it early just for kicks and giggles. It's an 18-day hold, so that would hold us through the 22nd. 3% move. Let's see what the options look like. Eh, it's not a ton. All right, let me find something else. It's too bad Calm didn't enter for us. TOS fees are very high. Yeah, they are pretty high. But Scott, fun tip for you guys. Don't tell them I said this. But if you message Thinkorswim, so like, let me just show you. If you go here to chat rooms and go chat or you support and open a support chat, tell them you're thinking about leaving for another brokerage because it's way cheaper and they'll cut your fees in like half. Fun tip for you. Don't say I told you that. All right. Oh no, what is going on? All right. Looking at my handy dandy hot sheets here. A&F. Don't love it. Fortinet. We'll trade it next week. All right. Well, I apologize. I said I was going to give you guys another pick right now. TTD would be the one to do. Or excuse me, was that? Ignore that. Not TTD. What was the one I just said? Oh, IBKR is the one coming up on Feb 4th. So that one looks good to me. If you guys want to trade it, feel free. I'm not going to trade it just because we've done a lot today. Let me answer. We got a lot of questions here in the chat. I think they cut my commission or my let's see what it is. 50 cents cost of trade. So you got better than me. 49 cents there. My mom, who I don't know if you guys were familiar with Celeste, but she was one of our traders here. She got hers down to 35 cents. Meta caught the flu. Oh, yeah. All right. Let me go ahead and comments on GEV, please. I like GEV. It's the same sort of setup, gap fill setup here. If you want to trade it, price target would be about 215 or 415 on the gap fill. That said, I'm a long-term fan of GEV buy and hold. I've got a large stock position in it. I bought some more yesterday when I told you here, hoping to get a nice little entry. Kenneth, would my mom come on the show? Maybe I can convince her to. All right, I got to answer questions about CRM. I know we had questions about CRM. We took that one yesterday. It's down today. Or not yesterday. We took it Tuesday. Let's see. I moved it down here just to pull it separate. Wow. So we need it above 365 by expiration. I would guess this week's one is not going to work. Next week's one's still a stretch. So this is what happens, guys. This is why you want to know your position sizing. Not every trade's going to work. You just saw my account. CRM's probably going to be a loser for me. And Amazon probably too, based on where it's currently at. That said, again, you want to have your win rate around 70%. I don't know why this is so laggy here. You want to have your win rate around 70%, so your winners are bigger than your losers. Or you win more than you lose. Not that your winners are bigger, but you win more often than you lose, and that can help you stack up over time. Amazon is also down today. So we need Amazon all the way up here. So again, same comment about losers. They do happen. Amazon will probably be a loser for me. Target on GEV was 415. All right, let me throw these in here for the team. And then I've got one final announcement for you guys. Keep turning this heater on because it's cold in the house. And then I start cooking. What did we get filled on ANET? 50 cents? AVGO. the other one. Build at 125. Oh, nice. You did AVGO at 115. Nice. All right. That wraps up today's session. With that said, today at 1 p.m., I've got a little teaser for you here. Today at 1 p.m., there's a massive trade opportunity that's forming inside one uniquely positioned tech stock. If you know me, but sorry, I was reading in the chat. If you know me, you might know what this stock is. I'm not going to give it here right now, but at 1 p.m., I'll tell you all about the stock and why I'm putting $100,000 of my own money in this stock this week. All right. Deanna just posted the page in the chat for you guys to sign up and send you the links and everything to join. We'll walk you through the pattern that's forming, exactly how it works. It's really cool. It's really unique in the sense that it's not something that most people would look at. And I don't want to give too much away, but the cool thing here as a teaser, Manny, come on. The cool thing here as a teaser is that we're not looking at the daily candles. We're not looking at intraday. We're actually looking at weekly candles, which is a little bit different approach than most people use. So I'll tell you all about it in the class at 1 p.m. Click that link in the chat to get signed up for it. Put your SMS in. We'll text you a link. Again, all of the attendees will receive the stock ticker trade setup for the 100K trade at 1 p.m. So I'll see you guys there. Hope you had some fun today. Hopefully some of our trades make money today. Asking about Amazon again. Amazon looks like it's probably going to be a loser. That happens. Lulu was an awesome winner. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Manny. Thank you, Dave. Thanks, Howard. Good to see you again. Awesome. Well, I'll see you guys at 1 p.m. Until then, keep it calm. See you guys.